Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
Now, far-right extremism is the fastest growing terrorist threat in the UK. That's according to the country's most senior counter-terrorism officer. Metropolitan Police Assistant Commissioner Neil Basu said that 7 out of the 22 plots foiled since March last year were linked to far-right ideologies. And he warned that public speakers, including politicians, need to be very careful about their rhetoric. Our senior Home Affairs correspondent Simon Israel reports.
Last week, this 50-year-old, swinging a baseball bat outside a neighbour's house while shouting white supremacist and kill all Muslims, was jailed for 18 years. Vincent Fuller went down as a far-right terrorist, inspired by the New Zealand Christchurch shootings he'd watched live on Facebook the night before.
Get on the floor now! Taser, get on the floor!
He's one of an increasing number of lone right-wing extremists in the UK intent on harm.
It is my biggest concern in terms of the growth at the moment. So we talk about we're dealing with nearly 800 live investigations. About 10% of that, or a little over, is the casebook for right-wing terrorism. I completely see it as my job to stop the growth.
Prescribing national action had some effect, but not enough. The far-right group was 20 to 30 strong. Many have been jailed for membership of an illegal organisation, and splinter groups have also been prescribed.
I'm really proud of the fact that we had national action prescribed in December 2016 as the most kind of egregious end of this right-wing terrorism threat. And we've had many convictions on the back of that. And even when they've tried to splinter and reform, we've immediately had those splinter groups prescribed. And we've got more convictions on that. We will continue to go hard at this kind of level of terrorism until we stop it growing in this country.
So if you've taken national action out of the game, why hasn't it just fallen away, this threat?
Because national action was effectively a relatively small group. And the problem with this ideology is there's a lot of lone actors in this space. There's a lot of small disorganised groups. There isn't a single body, entity or organisation to deal with. According to police, 7 of the 22 terrorist plots foiled since 2017 were linked to far-right ideologies. And there's been an 18% increase in referrals to the government's de-radicalisation programme, Prevent. Tomorrow at the Old Bailey, a 16-year-old boy will be sentenced for Terrorism Act offences. This is a 16-year-old Nazi. There is no better way of putting it. And that cannot be right for a society to tolerate young children being drawn into this level of criminal activity and being sentenced for terrorism offences. There is a way to stop that, and that's much earlier on when people are being influenced. And what really concerns me is we do see younger people in this space.
What about politicians' rhetoric?
Everyone should be careful about the rhetoric they use, because divisive rhetoric, without a doubt, inspires, for my wider policing colleagues, public order and hate crime, and for me, can inspire terrorist acts.
National action was present long before Brexit. And while Mr Basu acknowledges a correlation with far-right activity, he also says white supremacy is on the rise in many other parts of the world too.
Simon Israel reporting.